Hi, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. My name's Clayton, and today we are making my version of a burger. In order to make the best burger, you need to start with the greatest or the best ingredients. In that case, that means starting with the best meat. So today we're going to start with some Wagyu beef and some pork belly. Now this pork belly is like homemade bacon, which we'll get into here in a minute. We grind all of our own meat at the restaurant that we use for our burgers. What you do when you grind all of your own meat is you are ensuring that you're getting the cut of beef that you think you're getting into that burger. You're also ensuring freshness, and then you're also reducing your risk of E. coli. I choose to use Wagyu beef because it is naturally very marbled. Wagyu actually refers to the breed of cattle, not the type of cut. So we actually work with Morgan Ranch. Four-generation family farm in Burwell, Nebraska. You know, the most marbled, tender, delicious Wagyu cattle that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. And we're gonna grind it, and we're gonna serve it with bacon, and we're gonna put it in some pork belly. It's gonna be awesome. So when you're looking to grind your own meat at home, you gotta make some decisions. How much fat to lean you want to do. Obviously, the more fat that you include in your burger, the more that's going to render out in the cooking process, but a good rule of thumb is like 20% fat to 80% lean meat. We're just gonna cube this up so that it'll fit in the grinder. We're gonna do our burger today with some of our homemade bacon. We're just gonna go ahead and cut this slab bacon in half so it's a little easier to work with. Give ourselves some nice thick slices. I love to do my bacon both at home and at the restaurant on a sheet pan. The reason why I like to do this in the oven instead of on the stove is so much harder to overcook the bacon. It's gonna, retain some of that like chewiness or twosomeness to it. You're not going to overcook the fat, which is really what's most important, because when you're searing bacon in a pan, you tend to burn the bacon fat and then it's not really usable. Whereas we're gonna do it this way and we're gonna render that fat in the oven. And then that's what we're going to use to cook our burger in. We're gonna fry an egg in it. We're gonna caramelize onions in it. You know, it's important to make sure that when you're putting the stuff in that you get it nice and cold before you grind it. Otherwise, it's gonna be kind of mushy. Now, emulsifying the fat back into the meat, you can do this by hand or you can do it with like a KitchenAid paddle attachment, either or. You know your audience better than I do. You can make these patties as big or as small as you want. Quarter pound, give or take, a little more than a quarter pound. I like to keep my burgers about like an inch or so thick so that we can cook them like a nice medium all the way throughout. But definitely, if you're grinding your own meat, you're going to all this work, I want to make sure that there's still some pink in here. Before we cook these, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put in a little indent, a little divot, allow for better seasoning, for the salt to penetrate the meat, but it's also gonna keep it from splitting on us. It's just gonna help in the rendering process. So I like to go with a nice heavy layer of salt, fresh cracked black pepper. And I mean like heavy layer of salt, and this salt layer is almost gonna form like a crust on the outside so that it just really helps sear. Check out all that deliciousness just melting off the bacon. We're just gonna take that and we're gonna pour it directly in our cast iron. Do not be shy. You know, I love to do burgers on the grill in the summertime, cooking outside, and it's just kind of, it's enjoyable, sit and drink a beer. This is such a smarter way of cooking a burger because all this fat that's gonna get rendered out of the burger is gonna stay in that pan, and then we're gonna baste that burger in its own fat. It just doesn't get any better than that. We've got our dimple side of the burger. We're gonna go down first. We're gonna go right in that bacon fat there. You want the pan hot enough that as soon as that meat hits the pan, it starts to sizzle. If it does not, the oil's not hot enough. Wait and try again. So we're gonna go ahead and get a real nice dark sear on these. The burger's gonna tell you when it's ready to be flipped. It's just gonna tell you. It's gonna say, flip me. Flip me. You just gotta let it go, you gotta be patient. If If you try and flip it before it's ready, it's gonna start to fall apart on you. You're not gonna get a good sear. You're really counting on that nice dark sear. Wish you could smell this. For like a quarter-pound burger, we're gonna say maybe like 2 minutes on each side, this initial sear, maybe a minute or two. And we're gonna go ahead and flip. We're gonna grab a little bit of fresh thyme. We're gonna grab a little bit of roasted garlic. That's gonna go in the pan. Actually gonna add a little bit of homemade butter because it needs more fat in the pan. But the butter is just gonna be, it's like a different kind of fat. The milk solids are gonna brown and stick to the meat a little bit. It's gonna kind of caramelize. It's just, it's really delicious. We're just gonna baste. So I really enjoy cooking meat this way. You know, you can cook steaks this way, fish this way, chicken this way. There's enough fat in the pan that it's like, you know, obviously you're not gonna eat all that fat, but it's enough to keep whatever piece of meat you're cooking moist the whole time. So we're gonna take these to like medium rare or so. Our bacon is ready to come out of the oven. It looks amazing. I'm just gonna pour a little bit of this excess fat off, save it for later. Oh my gosh. Fry your pancakes in bacon fat. Scramble eggs in bacon fat. Give these a couple more bastes. I mean, I could say you'd pull your bacon fat off the tray and dry it in a paper towel to soak up that grease, but it's gonna go on this. So, no need. All right, this is how you know they're done. This is like the greatest tool in the kitchen, the most simple, and you would never know. So the way that we check to see if steaks are cooked all the way through at the restaurant is we use a cake tester. You're just gonna stick it right in the center of whatever piece of meat you're cooking. And you're actually gonna take it and we're gonna hold it to like the bottom of our lip, and it's gonna like hit that sensitive piece of skin. If it's cold, it's rare. If it's like barely warm, it's like medium rare. If it's like warmish hot, it's medium. If it's hot, it's well done. So, you know, you make the mistake a few times of letting it get too hot and then you burn the hell out of yourself. It's like medium rare. Yeah. We're gonna get ready to put them in the oven. We're gonna go ahead and pull that garlic that we've been roasting in there. We're gonna put it on our board. We're gonna give it a quick kind of mince or paste-like. Okay. I love a good pepper jack cheese. So we're gonna cut some nice thick slices here. Bread knife works great to cut through that cheese. Don't be shy. I mean, that's nice and thick. So we still have our pan with all of our leftover bacon grease and burger fat in there. So we're gonna go ahead and caramelize an onion in. So we're just gonna go with like a nice tight julienne on this. Go ahead and go in with those. Nice sizzle. Pinch of salt. So we make our own house-made gherkins. They're like a really spicy little pickle. You could use a bread and butter pickle, but I love the heat from these, especially with like the complements of the pepper jack cheese. I feel like the heat goes well together. You've got like the fattiness of the burger, so the heat just kind of helps cut through some of that. So we can go ahead and get our buns ready. We're gonna toast them in the oven when we finish our burger. We're gonna steal some of this fat, better yet. We're just gonna let them soak in there for a second. So as our onion's finished, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put our burgers and our buns back in the oven so the cheese can melt, bread can toast. Now you can let these onions keep going. You can, you know, allow them to keep, like, continue to caramelize. I mean, they're soft enough to eat. They've got good color to them, enough of the sweetness has come out, but I like to leave them almost like this so that there's a little bit of texture left to them. Pull them out like this with a slotted spatula or a slotted spoon because I want to keep that fat in the pan because that's what we're going to fry our eggs in. Bacon fat's nice and hot. Got some farm fresh eggs. We're just going to crack right in the pan. The whole point in doing this is to make sure that our white is cooked all the way through, but you want that yolk like runny, almost over easy like. So we're just gonna turn our heat off. We're gonna allow the cast iron's residual heat to continue to carry it through. Like to take some like fresh spinach or arugula. I love to take our homemade garlic aioli. It's like a French mayonnaise. So we're just gonna take a spoonful of this, take a little bit of parsley. We're gonna rough chop and put it on our eggs. Finish the eggs with a little bit of lemon zest. We're gonna start with a little bit of the ketchup on the bottom. It's gonna soak into that brioche. Oh, it's so good. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take a little bit of this whole grain mustard. Spread it on the top bun. Go with our spinach, tossed in our garlic aioli. And we've got our pickles. Now we're talking. Take our burger, we've got our bacon in there. Delicious pepper jack cheese. Grab our eggs. Oh yeah. That's a burger. That's a big ass burger. That is a big burger. All right. Oh yeah. Give it a little nice little squeeze. Take some of that egg. We're gonna. All right. Oh. Don't worry, it's gonna take me a second. Look at that. You see that deliciousness? You can like squeeze it out of there. That's where it's at. So this is a true story. I was always raised that you can tell a good cook by what kind of sandwich they make, and that a good sandwich is a messy sandwich. That's what my mom has told me since I was like old enough to know what the hell she was talking about. So this is definitely messy. So here we go. Doesn't suck. It's delicious. I don't need to say anything, I'm just happy. What's up? If you didn't have any friends before, you might now. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. I'm gonna go ahead and focus on this. We'll catch you next time. Hit subscribe below and join us each week as we share new recipes that I love to make at home. It's all right. You can't blame the dog. There's pork belly and raw meat around.